Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fred Emery from Heartland Campus Solutions, Vice President of One Card Sales. Thank you for joining us today for Beyond the Campus Walls, off-campus merchant programs. Joining me today is Tom DeLoge and Rory Hirsch from Dish Out. We're going to really delve into the Dish Out product and talk more about off-campus programs. Just a little housekeeping. This session is being recorded and it will be posted to our website, onecard.com. That's the number 1, C-A-R-D. You'll see the link on the right-hand side for our recorded webinars. It should be posted within a couple of days, so probably after the Thanksgiving holiday, this will be posted up on our website. We are in listen-only mode, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, but you'll need to go to the GoToWebinar control panel. Click on the questions area and just simply type in any question that you may have. We'll be monitoring that throughout the presentation and we'll answer them as they come up if we can. Otherwise, we'll have time at the end for you for us to answer any questions that you've posted. So let's get into the presentation. Today we're going to talk just briefly about who Heartland is, so you're aware if you're not aware of who Heartland is. I'll introduce Dish Out to you and pass over control to Rory and Tom to really get into the Dish Out product set. We're going to be talking a little bit about the importance of off-campus and the Dish Out experience. So just to let you all know, I'm with Heartland. Heartland is the 5th largest payment processor in North America. We have over 3,000 employees, more than 300,000 merchants, 2,000 which are colleges and universities. In 2013, we processed more than 3.3 billion transactions. And when I say 3.3 billion transactions, that's within Heartland's core business of credit and debit card processing. So more than 3.3 billion transactions at local retail, merchants, and restaurants throughout the country. That equaled more than $122 billion in volume, though. I bring this up because as we look at one card and off-campus transactions, that's what Heartland does. Card transactions is our core business. So we bring that knowledge, that expertise, the security of those transactions to our campus clients, both on and off campus, as you want to offer those services to your students. So what we're going to do now is delve right into the Dish Out product, and I'd like to introduce to you Rory Hirsch and Tom DeLoge, and I'm going to, and Tom, if I butchered your name, please correct me. I'm going to pass over control to Tom, who will then be able to show his screen and continue on with this webinar. Tom, are you there?
Great. Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me, Fred?
Yes, you sound great. Thank you. And I can see your screen now, so thank you very much.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody, for attending this morning. Just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Tom DeLoge. I am the Vice President of Business Development for Dish Out. And Rory Hirsch is also on. Rory, if you want to say hi quick.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Tom's going to take you through. We're kind of going to tag team this a little bit. And as Fred said initially, if you have questions, you want to wait till the end or at any point during the presentation, if there's anything that's very confusing or anybody has a point, feel free to pipe in as well.
Great. Yes, and just to briefly introduce, who we are. We provide campus card industry with value-added features and functions, including off-campus functionality with terminal and POS applications, transaction routing, merchant fund settlement, and loyalty and rewards. The last one we're going to get into some detail specifically both on and off campus and how we kind of view the future of this industry. For a long time now, off campus has become an integral part with many campus card programs across the country. As those programs have developed over time, the students have really wanted to see how how they can add value to those accounts and differentiate them really from credit cards and debit cards. And dish out's loyalty and rewards engine as part of our whole transaction platform really does that, and we're excited to be able to share that with you all today. So, our campus card solutions, when we think about all of campus commerce, there's the off-campus piece of it, and off-campus card programs, on and off-campus loyalty and rewards, full card program management, 24-hour, 7-day-a-week help desk and support, and fund settlement is all part of what Dish Out can provide a campus. That's everything from working to develop the merchant network that exists off campus, to settling those funds with those merchants through our settlement process, and providing the technology necessary for those merchants to process the transactions and interface with the Heartland system in order to account for all of the transactions. We're pretty experienced in the industry. We have 15 plus years of campus payment and marketing experience, as well as the merchant acquisition process. We've successfully designed and launched and managed over 15, got this in the way here. Whoop. I just lost my screen. Over 6,000 merchants implemented in state-of-the-art transaction processing technology. We do have a robust interface with the Heartland platform, with an innovative loyalty and rewards platform as part of that whole process. Multiple universities are successfully operational as we speak, and processing millions of transactions across the country. So it really is a complete solution on and off campus, for self-ops. The merchant acquisition process is really something that we take pride in, because we can build that network of locations to accept the campus card off campus, but then also stay engaged with that merchant base to really provide those deals and discounts that show the value for the students. Merchant-related program collateral, the marketing of those programs is very important. We'll get into that in a little bit more detail later on, but it's really kind of a collaborative approach and that we take. Our expertise is really that setup process for the merchants, the training. Take all of that away from the school's responsibility. We really only look to the school to help communicate the program to the students. We certainly do provide some marketing support and can walk the school through that process, but where we really need to be arm in arm with the campus is basically working to make sure that the students have that value and understand what that value is, and that could be done in a whole bunch of different ways. We can put together a comprehensive student marketing program that can support all of that, and we really look at how the school can communicate the account to the students. You can do that through your meal plan communications is a good example. So if you're communicating to the students and parents when they're have their checkbook out and they're ready to choose their meal plan, adding an option for those students to make the deposit into the declining a balance account at the time that they choose their meal plan is a great way to make the students aware at the time that they're making that financial decision and understanding what they're doing. There's other ways that campuses can do that by integrating it directly with their meal plans too. So we have some examples where programs have been pretty successful by implementing the declining balance part as part of that meal plan, which certainly helps seed the accounts and increases the value as to why, you know, that student card is so important. So it gives you everything from your meal plan purchases to your declining balance account to loyalty rewards. It really becomes everything in one complete solution. Rory, did you want to add anything there?
Oops, sorry, I was on mute. No, just that I think it's important to stress that any of these modules, as we call them, whether they be fund settlement, loyalty and rewards that we'll get more into, terminal applications to help route the transactions, support, we can offer them all as a holistic approach and a full turnkey solution. Or if you're already doing some of those things, we've spoken to many schools, for example, that have the relationship with the local merchant, want to stay involved to that regard, but don't want to do the fund settlement, or maybe don't want to deal with the terminals, or whatever it may be. We can customize and pick and choose which modules make sense for the particular school. So it doesn't have to be kind of an all or nothing approach. It certainly can be, and that's where a large majority of the schools go, but it can be kind of, you know, different pieces that may make sense for your particular school.
Thanks. So, you know, as to how the technology is specifically set up, what we've really done is built a transaction processing system that gives the merchants all of the technology that they need. And in the past, you know, there's programs all over the country that use Verifone terminals to process those transactions. So they're separate card readers that you know, we have to sell it to the merchant that they're proprietary, you know, connecting into the campus system. So all of those terminals are dialing up into our central transaction platform and then processing directly to the campus system. So, you know, we're really working at trying to develop more options for those merchants too. So it's not just limited to this one piece of hardware. So one of the things that Dish Out is planning to do and are in the process of is deploying not only separate hardware that can process the transactions, but also tablet POS or mobile hardware that they can also process the transactions. So that way we add more value for the merchant. So what we try to stay focused on is trying to expand the services for those merchants within the community so that they are more entrenched with us, so that we can really start to begin to build a robust student loyalty and reward program as well. So it really is a process over time as to how you build that network. And you know, we're definitely experienced at building those networks to get those merchants to be able to accept the program and want to accept that program. But you know, how do we take it to that next level? And that's where we're focused now, is adding value, adding those rewards components, and that's through an interaction with those merchants. And the more services that we can provide them in one solution, the better off we are in position to get more value from those merchants for our customers, which, you know, is ultimately what we're working for. We can do that through local merchant promotions, usage, you know, through loyalty, and Rory's going to explain that as we continue the discussion later. But in concept, what we're trying to do is say, okay, build the network first, get deals and discounts from those local merchants, but then on a national level, also build out that student reward program further, so that we can get more value for all of those customers. So that's, you know, it's not something that I think off campus we can definitely walk in and create an off-campus program for a school, but it really is in the discovery process, how connected that community is, and over time, how much we can drive better deals and discounts through that network. And that's what we really work to do, and provide that technology for the merchants to do that. So, there's other options, obviously, that campuses have, and you can do all of this on your own, and that's really what we're trying to step in and say that we can do best. How do we all play to our strengths, essentially, is what we're trying to get to. And the way that the most successful programs have worked is when you can focus the school and the card offices on making sure that the students are aware of what offers are out there, so that we can get those spend levels to an acceptable amount, so that the merchants continue to see the value, so that they continue to provide some of those deals and discounts that I'm talking about. So it really is a thing that if you want to take on all of it, we're trying to step in and say, okay, let us provide all of that technology, because otherwise you're going to have to worry about soliciting all of the merchants to be on the program, recruiting them, training them, putting all of that hardware in place, the full student marketing and design, all of the security aspects that are involved. There's cost implications, just the overall settlement process needs to be thought through and manually done on the schools, on the school side, and there's regulatory concerns, obviously, as well. So there's a lot of extra work if you're going to want to take on the project on your own, just to get the transactions flowing, and that's one thing. But then how do you really get the transactions flowing in a way that keeps everybody motivated enough to give those deals back to the students and have somebody focused on creating a great loyalty and reward program for those students as well. And it's a lot. It really is a lot to have to manage, and on the financial side, no one school is going to get rich from off-campus spend. At the end of the day, it's a great service that everybody is providing for their students. There is some revenue that you can generate out of it, especially when you do outsource it, and it's certainly part of our financial model. But what it really, the real true value in it is just providing that additional flexibility, convenience for the students, and value. So what we try to do is say, okay, let us handle all of this, so that you can then stay focused on your strengths, which is executing on that marketing, design, and production to make sure that the students are aware of what the benefits are that they have, and let us stay focused on that merchant base for you. So when there's that 2 o'clock in the morning call from Papa John's, then somebody on our staff is going to be able to answer their questions. So there's a lot to do, that from a financial aspect, it just makes sense to work with an organization like ours that really can step in and be the experts at what we do, and that's setting up those merchant bases so that they merchants have a good experience, so that they then in turn can turn around and give good service, food, quality, and value to our students. So how do we do that? It really, it flows in a lot of different ways. The black here is POS devices communicating over TCP, IP over SSL. The blue indicates the transaction processing, leaving the POS and going to the host, and then the transaction coming back from the host to the POS device. What we're able to do in this process then is really get creative, because as we send those messages back to the POS, we can use the receipt as an option to provide that value and deal and discount or future deal and discount. The different hardware that merchants have grown accustomed to. We take pride in that we work with multiple options for those merchants, whether they're wireless readers or hardwired phone, which is definitely going by the wayside, but also tablet, POS, and even credit card processing. We can kind of help, on that end too. So there's a lot of options that we have, with our system and how that's set up. Rory, I don't know if you wanted to chime in on the security aspect or whatnot with this slide.
Yeah, sure. I think in general, what we're really showing here is that if you look up top at all the different devices, to speak to what Tom was saying is we're really leveraging what the merchant has. So when we got started, and when everybody got started in the off-campus world, it was kind of looking at the variety of standalone devices. And one of the big complaints you get a lot of times from merchants and feedback, and one of the issues that really hinders the growth of a program is a lot of the merchants don't like having counter space taken up. They don't like having two different reconciliation processes. They don't like having different technology to learn. So what we've done is written all sorts of different applications to work on their existing equipment a lot of time. And if we are providing them an extra device, one of the things, for example, is working with Heartland to, if that merchant is processing credit cards through Heartland, everything can be in one simple device, one simple application, so that it's really a much easier buy-in from the merchant to participate. On the security side, we are kind of leveraging a lot of what Heartland as a company stresses all about, securing the transaction, making sure that from the time that card is swiped all the way through to when it gets approved back at the terminal, that there's security all around that. So everything from point-to-point encryption, meaning the second that card is swiped, the card number is never exposed. So even though it doesn't have the same liability as a credit card number, we're still taking the measures to secure that transaction from the time that the card is swiped all the way through our host and all the way off to your campus individually to get an approval. So we're not giving that card number back to the merchant. It's not exposed. When off-campus programs started years ago, and there's still some schools that do this, numbers would be written down on pieces of paper. They'd be exposed. You could run a report out of the terminal and have those numbers. We've taken measures to secure all that so that everybody feels comfortable, even though, again, it doesn't have the same risks as a credit card transaction. People still want to know that their personal data is secure.
Great. So, with that terminal procurement and fulfillment, there is a proprietary terminal and POS application designed specifically to power acceptance of campus cards off campus, all built, into our platform. Integrated printers, multifunction application supports campus cards and bank cards as well. Seamless integration with Heartland's one card system, and Dish Out, manages merchant-specific software configuration and terminal deployment, as Rory indicated. So, we also manage the in-store setup and training, including a user guide, and walk those merchants through that whole process. Dish Out finances the terminals and manages that terminal inventory as well. So the fees for that hardware is all incorporated into the merchant agreement that we have. So depending on which hardware solution that merchant wants to choose, we provide them with those solutions so that they can understand what they need and what they want, and and depending on what that is, those fees for those terminal fees are directly handled from the merchant directly with Dish Out. So there is no university involvement with the technology and the technology fees associated for that merchant to connect and accept the declining balance accounts.
Yeah, I think so. To clarify what Tom is saying, if the merchant needs additional hardware, occasionally they may actually choose to, for whatever reason, as rare as it is, they may choose to have a separate device, even though we could work on their existing device. We would go ahead and actually deploy that from our warehouse so that you don't have to get involved as the school and handle that hardware. If we're programming their existing equipment, if we're working with Heartland because they process credit cards with Heartland, whatever that looks like, we would handle that piece so that you don't have to deal with the burden of the setup and or deployment of the merchant.
Exactly. So let's talk about the merchant acquisition process and how that works. Dish Out conducts on-campus focus groups to determine where student dollars are being spent. It's very important for us to understand different types of students and where they might live. A smaller campus, it might be pretty cut and dry, and we know exactly which merchants all of the students frequent. Some larger campuses may be one dorm might be in an area that has specific merchant requests as opposed to another location on campus or popular off-campus housing that we need to know about. So and it might not just be proximity as well. So we really want to understand what those students are requesting, and typically we work with one contact on campus that can kind of help connect us with those students that can give us that feedback to make sure that we're on point with our targeting process and developing that list accordingly. You don't want to necessarily add too many merchants to a program because it too early, I should say, because if the spend levels are not to an acceptable threshold to handle that much of a merchant base, then the merchants may start to lose their enthusiasm about the program, and it becomes harder to get those deals and discounts down the road. So it really is important to understand at every stage of building a program, it could take a good 2 years to really settle in on your merchant base. And even then, it continues to be iterative because you could have merchants closing down, new locations opening up, and we need to stay on pace with what those new tastes are that new student groups coming in have and what's important to them. So it's really important for us to understand through those focus groups how to begin our targeting process. We are really efficient and have a multi-phased approach, as I mentioned, and and by helping to raise that merchant awareness and participation, we definitely get running right off the bat. It typically, when we're launching an account, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to start building that merchant base to the place where we can get to a launch of a program. So with everything else that needs to be done as well, I would say that it probably takes about 6 to 8 weeks to implement a program. Some people, by the very nature of our business, summertime is kind of the time that schools tend to think about launching a program, but we would definitely encourage campuses to launch in the spring as well, because that would provide us time to start building that awareness across the student base, and maybe getting a handful of merchants to start participating and almost do a soft launch of a program to the point where we can build and then build it even further over the summer, and then have a a full launch into the fall semester. You know, if the contract with Dish Out is executed, you know, no later than May, then we can certainly launch a program over the summer in time for a fall launch. But you know, ideally, if we can, you know, hit all those times and figure out when you're going to, you know, put together any communications that might go to the students over the summer, it gives us an opportunity to build a network, you know, sooner rather than later, so that we can share that merchant list with them as we sign them up. The university has final approval on a merchant list, so we have some campuses who look at a program and say, okay, if a restaurant serves more, you know, more than 50% of their sales is alcohol, then it really is more of a bar than it is a restaurant, and that you know, school doesn't want that location on, then we simply don't target that location. So we have that conversation with the school to understand what you know, the administrator's concerns might be about any locations, and it's really the school's approval and final approval for those locations to participate in the program. We can also limit the purchase items, so you know, if it's gift cards or tobacco products, alcohol, we can certainly write it into our merchant agreements to exclude items if a school chooses as well. And we do have campuses that have fully open programs and, you know, rely on the merchant to, they just kind of view, you know, our tender as another tender, and whatever their rules are at that location, then if a student is over 21 and they want to purchase a beer with their meal, then they allow them to do that. But, you know, we have other campuses that have those restrictions, and we can certainly customize our approach with the merchant base depending on how that campus feels. You know, Dish Out manages all the contracts, the rate negotiations, and provides merchant in-store collateral kit for those merchants to communicate to the students with, you know, the window signage and any other point-of-sale materials that can help communicate to the students what those deals and discounts might be through the loyalty and reward program. And we have that toll-free customer support, you know, for those merchants 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, providing everything that we can to troubleshoot any issues that they might have. And you know, if they need new hardware replaced, we you know, overnight that to the merchant to keep the uptime, you know, at an acceptable level. So Rory, I don't know if you want to touch on the website development for a second here.
Yeah, sure. So now we're can everybody hear me? Can you hear me, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. So now getting into I guess loyalty and the marketing side of it a little bit more. One of the things that we can do when we talk about marketing is either work with you and give you some pointers based on our experience and expertise as it relates to the website, or we've actually started to have a handful of schools come to us and say, well, can you actually develop and host that? And we'll actually have a .com presence for you specifically around the card. Really, again, depends on the campus. We see some schools that want to take a much more hands-on approach with that and just have us focus on the off-campus piece, and then more and more we're seeing schools that are asking us to actually build that presence from scratch. And I think that's going to become a little bit more of a phenomenon as we look at the loyalty side of it and add some of that component in and some of the stuff that we'll talk about that we're integrating with Heartland in this example. So through their OneCard mobile, for instance, students will be able to see their rewards, see what purchases obviously they took place on the Heartland side, and then actually see what those deals, offers, and rewards are that are associated to those purchases. If we go on to the next slide and look at loyalty as an overview, everything that Tom's kind of been speaking about at a very high level, the bottom line here is we're trying to differentiate why a student wants to use a OneCard, right? Obviously, with the advent of debit and credit and mobile payment and now Apple Pay and all these different things that we see out in the marketplace, it's very clear that collectively, as an industry, we need to really provide value beyond where the card is a necessity. So obviously you need that card for certain things on campus, but how do we really increase that spend? How do we make it an incentive? How do we make it fun to that cardholder to want to use and to the merchant to want to participate? So one of the things that we've done, and really a core tied to the whole program, is loyalty and rewards. And what we're doing at both a high and granular level, as we can get more into it, is we're rewarding those cardholders for the purchases that they're making. And traditionally, and what we're talking about is off-campus, and why we're mentioning on-campus is we've had numerous schools have us talk and work with their food service companies, because we want to look at this collectively as one card as a whole and not just off-campus versus on-campus. And if we can reward those cardholders for making deposits, for making purchases, whether it's on campus, whether it's off campus, and tie the entire ecosystem together, we'll all be more successful, and there'll be greater spend both on campus and off campus. So as an example of that, we can actually incentivize students to deposit more, because the higher deposit will come with different rewards, different deals, and this is all electronic. So think of it as a electronic coupon book, if you would, whereby if I'm depositing $1,000 into my meal plan and $300 into my discretionary account, or whatever the terminology is at your campus, we can actually reward those cardholders with special deals, and then reward them ongoing as they make purchases, whether it's, again, on campus or off campus. We can do that with points. We can do that with cash back to their account. One of the things we're testing a few of these different options right now. We'd love to hear from you what you think would work on your campus, and we could take you through that. But where we look at rewards and loyalty in general as a program and not just a solution. And what I mean by that is we're not just coming to you and saying, okay, here's the tools for you to develop a loyalty program. Very similar to what we're doing with the traditional off-campus management, is we're actually providing that as a program. So we're bringing the technology, we're bringing the website as we showed previously, and the biggest thing that we're working on now and going to be rolling out over the next couple months is partnerships with regional and national merchants. So we're actually bringing merchants in, which we'll show on some future slides, that will actually be providing rewards, be providing offers. So as an example, you could make a purchase at a off-campus merchant, and that receipt maybe will be a coupon that you can use at a large national merchant. Even if you're not paying with your campus card, that offer is incentivizing you to pay with your campus card at the local merchant, because maybe I'm going to get some sort of discount or deal with another type of merchant. So really, again, providing that push to the student from the get-go. And rewards can be gift certificates. They can be right at the point of purchase. We can give a discount off. So for example, if I am spending and buying $10 worth of food, maybe my reward is I want to get $3 off my meal right now because I have enough to do that. Could you go back to the next slide, Tom? So we're actually communicating with the students through these tools. We're not throwing it down their throats. The student is actually telling us how often they want to get these rewards, if they want to receive emails, if they want to just check through the app, through OneCard Mobile that'll be integrated, they can do that. Obviously, the merchants themselves are going to be promoting it, so we're working with the merchants on everything from table tents to the things at the counter, incentivizing purchases and encouraging students to ask about it. I'm sure everybody has seen merchants over time maybe say, well, I don't like paying for this program, or I don't see the value that I get if they're coming in with a credit card or debit card, and I'm going to have the student come in anyway. So that's a lot of the reason that we developed this, is to combat that and offer the merchant a real reason that they want to participate with this. And merchants have been very, very welcoming of this as we've rolled it out, because they actually see, okay, they are really doing something to help me market. There is a reason that this student is now coming into my location that they might not otherwise. And we, both to the merchant and to you, you'll actually get reports of what this will look like. How has spend been? For a particular promotion, didn't increase spend. So we ran a promotion last Tuesday and compare it to this Tuesday. What did my sales look like as a merchant? So you'll have all that data, and you'll be able to see through our side what that looks like to the individual merchant as well. On to the next page with, we talked a little bit about receipt rewards. So these are two of the examples of merchants that we've worked with, both CVS and Applebee's, on the campus spend side, that are going to offer rewards in certain cases. So as I said earlier, you could go and make a purchase at a particular merchant, and maybe that receipt is going to give you a item off at CVS, or a free appetizer at Applebee's, or maybe Applebee's in one of our campuses, for example, is offering something where spend $20 at Applebee's this month and get a free appetizer, this week, excuse me, and get a free appetizer on your next visit. So again, all sorts of different incentives to constantly encourage the student to come in. And we've taken the approach with loyalty and rewards to make it very attainable to the student, because a lot of times with reward programs, people and consumers in general will look at it and say, well, this sounds great, but I have to spend so much money to get anything. We're doing exactly the opposite. So they're constantly, by being a rewards member and making purchases, you'll constantly get different incentives to use your One Card. So it may be free items, it may be percentages off, it may be double points, whatever that particular thing is incentivizing the student, there'll always be a reason to use that card, and there'll always be a reward very attainable, so that you're not having to spend an entire school year in order to get something very, very simply. So before, Tom walked through how we were running the transaction, and what we did here is actually add in to show you how it works with loyalty and rewards. And because we're routing all those transactions into your Heartland solution on campus, we're showing the power of what we're able to do on the loyalty side. So if you look up top and you see that transaction coming into our platform, we're now identifying and saying, okay, this is Joe Smith. He's at ABC Merchant looking to make this purchase. What business rule do we have? What logic do we have associated to that cardholder? Is it we're supposed to assign points for this if it's approved? Is it we're supposed to apply a coupon because they're trying to use a coupon? Whatever it may be, we can process the transaction, and then in a coupon environment, deduct the money beforehand. In a rewards environment, make sure that that transaction was approved, and then go ahead and assign the rewards. So all a very seamless experience to both the student and the merchant. One thing to really stress here is we're not asking the student to do a separate swipe. We're going to talk in a future slide quickly about how we're integrating with One Card Mobile, so that if the student is actually paying with their phone, it's all one transaction. We're not asking the student or the merchant to use a separate loyalty card or provide any additional information. It's all tied into that initial transaction, which makes it really cool and seamless and quick to conduct. And obviously, with the advent of all these different integrations and combined with what Heartland's already doing on campus, we can extend this really anywhere that you'd like. So obviously in the cafeteria and vending machines on campus, we're working with taxi companies. A lot of our schools have asked us to integrate so that you can write in the back of the taxi, pay for a car to ensure safety for students so they can get home if they're out. We are also in the process of integrating into 3 different mobile applications where students can request a car service, for example. So if that's something that you wanted to add on at your school, literally inside that app they can pick that they want to pay with their campus card, and we'll actually route that transaction, identify the student is a student and card holder at your university, and route that transaction to your particular school. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Heartland One Card Mobile and how on campus it gives you the ability to do a variety of things, but in this particular instance, pay with your phone. We're integrating whereby the same exact functionality will be available off campus. So if you have all these off-campus merchants and you have your phone and your One Card mobile app and the students walking around, that's all they have on them, they'll actually be able to take their phone into the local merchant and right at the point of sale pay, either by scanning, in this case as we see a barcode example, or we're going to have some very similar functionality like Heartland will with paying right off the register and identifies the credential and verifies the transaction. So all tied directly into the mobile device. And again, when a loyalty transaction is run, all one transaction. So we're not asking for 2 separate swipes, 2 separate scans of the phone, any additional information. It's all tied to that initial scan of the phone. Online ordering is something that a lot of schools are implementing, and I'm sure a lot more of you are looking at. We have a variety of ways to support this, and we'll work with you if you've already chosen an online ordering option. In conjunction with Heartland, we're integrating with, have integrated with To-Go Technologies, which is a great option that they can build you an entire online ordering ecosystem, and we can actually help route those transactions so that you're paying with your campus card, and that's from a phone, from the PC, wherever it may be, and again, all through that One Card mobile application. The student will be able to order food, pay for their food, and actually pick up or delivery. So depending on what the merchant is offering, either one is an option. And going back to what we said before, what's great about the security aspect of this is this enables a student to securely log in through their phone, verify who they are through their credentials, and never provide a card number to the actual merchant. So that transaction is paid for. Merchant knows that they're going to get funded the same way they would get funded for an off-campus transaction, traditional off-campus swipe transaction, and they never have to provide any personal data to do that. So one of the things that we can do for you in conjunction with a To-Go, or if you wanted a whole solution, is brand that entire experience for you. So again, for delivery or pickup, your school completely branded with your colors. When you open that feature up inside of One Card Mobile, would be a complete online ordering solution. So menus, different customizations to what you want to do, anything that you would actually go into the store and request or over the phone would now be available both online and via a mobile device. The back end is really important and one of the selling features to the merchant, so they can provide full order management. So all the orders are sent into the restaurant, either into their point of sale or a standalone device. A lot of times we're providing them that tablet that they're also running their campus transactions on, and they kind of view it as their merchant platform or their off-campus One Card platform. And this provides full communication back to the student, so they can actually say, yep, we got the order, we know you ordered pepperoni pizza, we're out of pepperoni, do you want to change your order? Or got it, it'll be there within 45 minutes. And that's all communicated back and forth within the app, so it makes it really seamless and cool for the students, so they don't have to pick up the phone. With a lot of the online ordering solutions that came out, you order and you really have no idea, well, did the merchant get it? And you're still picking up the phone and calling, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. So we went that extra step on the merchant side and gave them the whole platform and the ability to communicate back to the student and ensure that the orders are actually being tended to properly. So one of the neat things that we could do, and I know a lot of you have looked at the Give Back program before, is give you the ability to kind of continue that, and just as an option through your one-card transactions, we can actually give the merchants the ability to give back to the particular charity or to the school all through the swipe. So if you go on to the next page, Tom, I could actually show where we have an example of what that looks like. So when swiping the card, the consumer actually has the option, for example, of doing something called rounding up. So if the sale is $8.80, they can actually round that up to $9.20 can go back to the particular charity. That can all be determined merchant by merchant if you wanted to enable something like that and participate, or if you have a particular charity that you want to support at the school level, we would work with you to turn that on and leverage what you're already doing, maybe with the Give Back network. It could work either way, but just an added feature that we've seen a lot of requests from merchants, and yet another reason to maybe, hey, I want to use my campus card because I want to be able to donate or participate in something like that. So we can do what we call a roundup, or we can do the make a separate purchase. So if my purchase was $9, we can actually prompt, would you like to donate $1 today to ABC charity, for example. Tom, do you want to talk back about the fund settlement and reports and that piece? I know we covered that earlier, but maybe give some detail now on what we do and how we handle all that.
Yep. So, we do settle with the off-campus merchants through electronic ACH merchant settlement process. We do have sophisticated risk management capabilities and end-to-end process managed, and monthly merchant statements for those merchants with detailed reconciliation reporting for the campus. So basically, the merchant has the ability to view their transaction history, and obviously, call our support center if they have any questions about payments, and we handle that whole communication. The fund settlement process and how that flows is pretty straightforward. The school needs to dedicate an account or just provide us an account that we would know to settle those funds from. So there's a lot of regulations around how those transactions flow and how that settlement process should look, and we can walk the school through those details to make sure that they understand exactly what they're looking at, and by having that reconciliation process, there's basically two platforms that you can view those transactions in. So the Heartland system would be able to show all of the transactions in the same way that those off-campus transactions, the on-campus transactions show, but then you also have the dish out reporting that shows the transactions to balance against and reconcile. So everything's accounted for.
Yeah, I think the key thing to stress there, maybe it's evident, but this would take you as the school completely out of the check writing or reporting or funding business. We would handle that directly with you. We also are very, very hands-on, much to our dismay of how much time we have to spend because of the nature of the business and the regulations and the legal aspects of this as far as what the rules are around how long to hold the money, how long to deposit the money, when after a transaction takes place we're supposed to be getting that money from the university. So we work with you on all those different pieces and caveats to the system and ensure that the funds are settled in a timely manner to the merchant, and the rev shares are reported on properly and so forth. So that's becoming more and more of an issue for both merchants and schools, and we help the merchants through the filling out of the proper paperwork to report the transactions appropriately. So all of that stuff that's now become more and more prevalent with off-campus programs, we take on 100%, so you no longer have to deal with those tedious aspects.
Exactly, and then reporting is basically the same, along the same lines. So that real-time connection between the merchant and your office. Typically we work with a couple different touch points, I guess, on campus. So sometimes it's all done just through the card office. Other times, we work directly with the business office on any financial reporting and making sure that the money is flowing to those merchants seamlessly, and the revenue share payments that are going back to the school. All of that is set up in the launch process, and we continue to work with those contacts to make sure everybody has everything accounted for on the accounting side. Live transaction view, statistics, multi-location roll-ups, a lot of on the loyalty and reward side too, that kind of evolves over time. So understanding what deals and discounts are resonating with the students, and being able to find what's working best so that we can stay focused and suggest those things that work to other merchants. So that's pretty much it. I think we've wrapped up everything. I don't know if Fred, how you want to open the floor to questions.
That was very thorough, and it really gave a great overview. So I appreciate you all taking the time today to present this to us. I mean, we have a great relationship with you all, and I'm looking forward to bringing the Dish Out solution to many campuses. We right now I'm not showing any questions have been posted. If any of you would like to ask any questions, please feel free to go over to the GoToWebinar control panel. In the questions area, just type in your questions. That'll come through to us, and we'll be able to read them aloud and answer them. So please do so. There aren't any there now. As you can see on your screen, you have Rory and Tom's phone numbers, as well as general email where you can shoot off any questions that pop up later on. By all means, you could always contact me as well, and I'd be happy to pass on any questions and see how we can help you further off-campus programs. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in, so I do thank you both, Rory and Tom, for this time, and I thank all of you clients for prospects for your campuses for joining us today. We appreciate the time that you've given us. As I said earlier, this will be recorded, so if you come in late and you miss the beginning of the presentation, you can go to our website within the next couple of days. It should be posted by early next week, the latest. It will be posted, and that's on onecard.com. That's the number 1, CARD.com. You'll see on the right-hand side an area for the webinars, and the video of this webinar will be posted there. So you can always refer your colleagues to it or review it as needed to get more information. Rory, Tom, do you have any other items that you wanted to bring up?
No, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, and I encourage, please reach out with any questions, call us directly. That email gets forwarded to both of us, and please let us know how we can help.
Great.
Hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you on some future webinars. Have a great day.